Hey, welcome to World Code Updates. The headlines screamed what many had feared for months. World Cup chaos, blared one digital billboard in Times Square. Fans denied, flashed another across a news ticker in London. It was August 2025, less than a year before the world's biggest sporting event, and the dream of a seamless North American World Cup was fracturing. Tense scenes played out daily. Frustrated fans with valid tickets waving useless documents outside U.S. embassies from Bogota to Berlin. Tearful families were separated by red tape. Their once-in-a-lifetime trip turned into a nightmare. The original vision, 3 nations, 1 tournament, was being replaced by something ugly. Instead of discussing the next soccer superstar, the world obsessed over visa backlogs and consular chaos. American host cities, after years of preparation, found themselves at the center of a storm. The core promise, that a ticket and a passport were enough, was broken. Airlines and hotels saw mass cancellations. The infrastructure built to welcome the world was shuttering. The problem was no longer theoretical. It was real, damaging, and escalating. The beautiful game was being held hostage by political decisions. The clock was ticking down to a tournament that looked less like a festival and more like a fortress. It all started with such promise. The United 2026 bid was a masterstroke. The US, Canada, and Mexico united for a World Cup across a continent. The vision was seamless travel, cultural exchange, and shared passion for soccer. Fans could watch a match in Mexico City, another in Toronto, then fly to Los Angeles for a quarterfinal. The blend of cultures and stadiums was meant to be the tournament's greatest strength. FIFA loved the scale and symbolism. 3 nations, 1 festival. The bid promised politics would take a backseat to sport, and borders would feel like bridges. Cities celebrated, upgraded infrastructure, and trained volunteers. The spirit of cooperation was palpable. The tournament was meant to be a legacy project, a model of international partnership. It was a beautiful idea. But as the tournament drew closer, the story began to change. The first signs of trouble emerged not on the pitch, but in the halls of government. In early 2025, the U.S. enacted sweeping new travel policies, citing security concerns. Stringent biometric screenings and expanded visa interviews replaced the open door the World Cup had promised. Millions of fans planning trips faced a wall of confusion. Crashed embassy websites, months-long waits for interviews, and shifting rules. The dream of a simple, welcoming World Cup in the U.S. evaporated. The U.S. government and World Cup organizers were out of sync. The State Department focused on security. Organizers focused on access. The U.S. Soccer Federation was powerless to change policy. Canadian and Mexican officials watched with alarm as their own plans for free movement unraveled. The American policies threw a wrench into the entire operation. The united front of the United 2026 bid was crumbling. The partnership, once a symbol of cooperation, was now defined by division. The tournament's very soul was at risk. Behind the headlines were stories of heartbreak. The Morales family from Buenos Aires saved for years to see Argentina play, only to have their visas scheduled months after the tournament. Their dream trip dissolved into a bureaucratic dead end. Small business owners in host cities suffered too. Restaurants and hotels prepared for international fans, only to face empty seats and vacant rooms. Local entrepreneurs who bet big on the World Cup faced devastating losses. Sponsors, the financial lifeblood of the tournament, began to retreat. A global beverage company's campaign collapsed when fans couldn't enter the country. Their slogan, "Bringing the World Together," rang hollow. Sponsors shifted resources to Canada and Mexico. This was more than a financial calculation. It was a vote of no confidence. The American leg of the tournament became a liability. The brand association was toxic. The human cost, broken dreams and lost savings, morphed into a corporate crisis. The foundation of the U.S. hosting plan was crumbling. FIFA is many things, but on one principle, it's consistent. The World Cup must be open to all. Host nations must guarantee simplified entry for ticket holders, teams, and media. South Africa, Brazil, and Russia all created special event visas or systems to ensure access. When U.S. travel policies created chaos, FIFA grew agitated. Quiet diplomacy turned to public demands. The U.S. had contractually agreed to ensure access. FIFA gave a final deadline: 60 days to guarantee unrestricted entry, or risk losing matches. The message was clear: fix this or lose games. American organizers were caught between government policy and FIFA's demands. They had no authority to change visa laws. The risk to the U.S. portion of the tournament was now imminent. Hosting rights were hanging by a thread. The consequences for American host cities were immediate and devastating. Cities like Seattle and Atlanta saw economic forecasts evaporate overnight. Budgets for infrastructure and security faced massive shortfalls. The cultural impact was just as profound. Plans for fan fests and festivals were scrapped. The loss of matches meant the loss of a unique cultural moment. The U.S. reputation as a reliable host for global events was severely tarnished. The message to the world: the U.S. was now an unpredictable, unwelcoming partner. This reputational damage would have long-lasting effects on future bids. The national tourism industry took a major hit. The World Cup became an advertisement for American bureaucracy, not its beauty. Billions in projected economic impact vanished. The damage to brand USA was incalculable. The nation lost more than soccer games. It lost global goodwill. As the U.S. crisis deepened, Canada and Mexico saw opportunity. Canada announced World Cup tickets would function as visa waivers, ensuring hassle-free entry. Mexico streamlined entry processes and expanded fan zones. While the U.S. built walls, Canada and Mexico built bridges. They presented themselves as the true keepers of the United 2026 dream. Stadiums in Toronto and Monterrey were assessed for more matches. Local committees in Vancouver and Guadalajara proved their readiness. The global media narrative shifted. Canada and Mexico became the heroes. Fans redirected their plans north and south. Their welcoming attitude gave FIFA a perfect escape route. With the U.S. unable to meet the deadline, FIFA acted decisively. In a historic press conference, FIFA stripped the U.S. of 20 matches, including 2 quarterfinals. Canada and Mexico each received 10 additional games, including prestigious quarterfinals. The move was celebrated in both countries. The tournament's center of gravity shifted away from the U.S. FIFA's teams, worked with Canada and Mexico to adjust logistics and ticketing. Fans with U.S. tickets were given priority for new venues. Canada and Mexico rose to the occasion. For the U.S., it was a moment of national embarrassment. The dream of showcasing America was curtailed. The shift was a symbolic judgment on the nation's place in the global community. In the aftermath, the winners and losers were clear. Canada and Mexico's reputations soared. They reaped economic and cultural rewards. The boost to their soccer programs was immense. The U.S. lost billions, prestige, and international goodwill. American fans were left with a hollowed-out tournament. FIFA emerged stronger, reinforcing its authority and principles. The message: the rules apply to everyone. The World Cup's integrity was protected. The ultimate lesson: global events demand global thinking. Unity and openness are practical necessities. The tournament became a cautionary tale about exclusionary policies. In an interconnected world, one nation's loss is another's gain. The beautiful game moved toward open arms and open doors.